Okay, welcome back everyone. Welcome back to all my subscribers and those of you that may be tuning in just for this Predicta series, or this may be the first time you're checking out my channel. No matter how you got here, welcome. Glad you're here. Glad you're joining me. When I last left off, just as a refresher, we're doing Predicta restoration on two different sets, a holiday set and a pedestal set. You'll also hear me refer to it as a barber pole, as that was one of the nicknames for that set. And they both use the Predicta 9L37 chassis. And when I last left off, this is the chassis out of the pedestal set. It's the second set, or the second chassis that I'm restoring. And I started out underneath, and I have that basically completed now. It was quite dirty, and so we've got it pretty well cleaned up now. All the resistors have been checked and new ones have been installed where needed, and basically all of the caps have been changed. So, and that includes the electrolytic. Here's the main 150 microfarad electrolytic that's put into this plastic container. And I've got to share this. This is for Don, who does Restore Old Radios YouTube channel, Restore Old Radios. And by the way, if you don't subscribe to Restore Old Radios or Don's channel, you should. He does fantastic work, but he got a kick out of the last set that I did. I used a paper towel roll to isolate this cap. This happens to be a piece of plastic that came from this product. It's called Airborne, and it's an immune support system product that I take during the winter time to help avoid colds. And I was sitting at the table upstairs one morning taking that, and I got to looking at this, and I thought, what does that look like? Well, it looks like an old electrolytic capacitor. So when the product was gone, I just threw it down here in the shop. I have a box of various household products, packaging that sometimes I'll incorporate using in vintage electronics. And so what I did was I just painted that. It's plastic, and it'll isolate this cap from the frame of the chassis, because this cap is not grounded to the chassis. So it's probably overkill protection, but just like in the last chassis, there is a excuse me, an electrolytic cap hot glued inside there. And of course, this is the 3-section can that sticks out on the top of the chassis, and then of course here is the 4-section can. Okay, I just haven't put it back together yet. That installs right here. And so that is the last electrolytic, and really the last bit of work I need to complete on the bottom of this chassis. But yeah, this must have been a smoker set, because it was really grungy. Took quite a bit of Q-tips and lacquer thinner to clean this set up, but yeah, we're in pretty good shape. Replaced the thermistor, replaced the filament dropping resistors, and like I said, all the capacitors and resistors have been either checked or replaced. And we have one 1K module, network module here, that I'm not going to concern myself with unless I need to, and that will not be problematic as compared to the ones on the PC board, because this is very readily available to get to. So if we have a problem with it, it won't be hard to replace. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and reinstall this cap, and then we'll be ready to flip the chassis over and begin work on the top side. Hey everyone, how are you? We now got the Pedestal set CRT as well as the Pedestal chassis up on the bench, and I just wanted to give you an update of where I'm at. First of all, you can see here that the flyback has been recoated with RTV 133, so that's been taken care of. Of course, we have all the tubes populated and everything hooked up like I did on the last holiday set. And I had a little bit of a problem with my camera over the last 4 or 5 days. I finally figured out it was the battery. So I'm back to filming, but in the meantime I got a chance to work on this set, so I did do a power up off camera, just very similar to the way I did the holiday. And I had initially had a signal on it and got sound. I have the speaker from the Pedestal out, and so everything was cool except for one thing. I had no high voltage. So just couldn't figure out why I couldn't get this thing to fire. So what I did was went back to the schematic, checked all the voltages on the horizontal output tube, and everything there was where it should have been. All the voltages were there. Then I went back here to the horizontal multi-vibrator and checked all the voltages there, and that was looking pretty good. So I couldn't really understand why I wasn't getting any high voltage. And then I noticed that this tube right here, the damper tube, wasn't running. And I also got to looking very closely, and I've seen this one other time before. I think it was Bob Anderson had a Predicta where someone had shorted with a piece of wire between here and here on the flyback transformer. And I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking, and of course my other 9L37 didn't have that anywhere. It's nowhere on the schematic. I just couldn't figure out why anyone would have done that. So I removed that. It was just a piece of wire, okay? Just a piece of wire, shorted across there. And as soon as I took that off, lo and behold, the damper tube started running. But still no picture, no high voltage. Nothing on the high voltage rectifier tube, which gets its power from the flyback. So went back to the schematic and tried to go through everything, and finally got down here to these two resistors, R66 and R67. And those are pretty critical resistors, and you can see since they're in yellow, that means that I replaced them. And I checked them again and they were fine. So then I got down here to the width control. Started to suspect that that could be a problem. Well, sure enough, I fired up the set and just started playing with this width control, and I think there's a dead spot in this control. And oddly enough, it was set on that spot. So it's been cleaned really well, and it works throughout most of its rotation, but once I started fooling with that, I could hear the oscillator start running, the high voltage kicked in, and then boom, we had an image on the screen. And of course it took me a lot more effort to get the picture correct than the last one. I wasn't so lucky this time. But altogether, maybe 30 minutes of troubleshooting to get this going, so overall not bad. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and turn on the set and let you see what it's doing. And there's our pilot light. And everything's warming up. And I can hear the high voltage kicking in. And there's our sound. And here's our picture.
Hurry up, children. We only have a few more minutes.
And I don't have horizontal. Now we do. do.
Yes, Whitey.
Could I borrow your ruler?
Of course.
And there you go. Now, one thing about this particular CRT and this lens cover, you can see it looks a little blurry in here, or maybe you can on the screen, I'm not sure, but it is a little blurry in there. It's not quite as sharp, and I figured out that that's not from anything other than dirt and accumulation inside this cabinet, inside this bubble screen. Because you can go around to the edges and things are a lot sharper. But right here in the middle, I've got something on the inside of that, and the only way to really deal with it is to disassemble this CRT, and I'm just not sure I want to do that. That's a lot of work. Did hit it with a couple of passes of Novus number 2, and that helped, but there's still probably residue from this CRT. If you'll recall, this is the 2.35 CRT, the original, that came with the Predictas when they came out, and so that cabinet has probably never been opened up. The tube still tests pretty well, but obviously I won't be playing this one very much because they were known to fail and fail very quickly, so I want to make sure that I don't watch this tube out. The other thing that I did that I thought was important was did a voltage check right here at point C behind those power resistors, and was looking at the AC voltage going into the filament string. Wanted to make sure that was right due to the fact that we have that 2.35 filament volt set, or CRT, and it's supposed to have 93 volts right there, and I had like 94, so I think we're in pretty good shape there. One last thing that I did was I did put new rectifier diodes in this one. I did not do that in the other set, but I just put some new modern ones, and I clipped those old ones out of the circuit and replaced them with the same. What this chassis is, the other chassis, the B Plus, is running about, it's right at 300 to 298 volts. It's supposed to be 290 on the 290 source, so that's probably a little bit due to the line voltage that I'm running it at. I'm trying to run it right at 120 to 121 because that's what I get in on my outlets. So yeah, not quite as clear and crisp a picture as the Holiday, but certainly a very good picture for the Pedestal set. So now I have 2 fully restored Predictas for my collection, which is always nice to have a couple of good examples of Predicta in your collection. Now the only thing I've got to do is, if you recall way back when I was looking at the cabinet of my Pedestal, the feet need to be repaired, and I'll be getting that done over the next few weeks. And so what I'll do after I get that done, I'll get both the Holiday and the Pedestal back in their cabinets, ready to go in the house, and give you one final video look at that. But yeah, they're both, I'm considering them both electronically restored, fellas and gals, if you're watching. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the final video where I have them back in the cabinets. Okay, so I'll give you a final look without the lights on. I think you can see what I'm talking about. Looks like there's some high voltage dust or something like that in the middle of the screen.
I promise
You can
I'll
see it a little bit better with the lights off, I think, in the camera. It's not bad. It's definitely a very watchable picture. But you can just tell there's blurriness here.
never gonna get over Miss Canfield.
And I can see it on the inside of the screen. And it would just be simply a matter of pulling this bubble off and cleaning that. I think that would clear right up. I do have a couple of scratches right here. But I don't know if I'm going to take the time to do that right now. So I got other projects I want to get on to. But yeah, very pleased at how well both these Predictas came out. Okay, so until I get the final video going with them back in their cabinets, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Okay, so you just thought this video was over, but it's not. I got to looking at the CRT while cleaning it on the outside and really just couldn't leave it the way it was. If you're going to take the time to restore a TV, you might as well do it right. So the closer I got to looking, the easier it really is to pop this lens cover off. And I just wanted to show you what was on the inside. It's a wonder I could see anything from the picture. And man, does this thing stink. But yeah, that's why there is a blurriness to it. You can see it's just, it looks like it's residue from you know, high voltage being in here, as well as the CRT has a layer of grime on it as well, which is not uncommon inside safety glass. So, but yeah, it was real easy to take this apart. This band basically holds the bubble onto this back case. Has one screw in it, and then this just basically snaps in and is held in by two clips down here and a couple of screws that holds this little faceplate on, and that was it. So yeah, time to get the glass cleaner out and really get after that with some Novus, and that'll be easy enough to clean up and take care of. And the cabinet's out at my friend's wood shop right now. It'll be getting worked on, and so when I get that back, we really will have that final video with the two Predictas playing in their cabinets. But just want to show you this real quick. Alright, thanks for watching.